Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Khaja Muhammad Akbar and you're watching Global Times Pakistan. Today we're discussing the very core issue of Pakistan, the core problem of and to address the core challenges of Pakistan and discuss the remedies to the challenges. We have with us Major General Farrukh Bashir. He is a former SSG commander. Sir, thank you for joining me. So, my first direct question to you is what are the key challenges to the Pakistan's stability and growth?
Okay, thank you. Now you're audible, and I got your question. In fact, this is a very, very laden question, and it will take a lot of time to explain what are the basic challenges Pakistan is facing at the moment for its growth and stability. And what I'm going to talk is that is, in my view, that is in order of priority that I accord them. First and foremost challenge to Pakistan, which is being faced today, is the uncontrolled growth of population. Every year, we are adding a lot of new kids, new babies, new children to our population with no clear future prospects. Any amount of economic gains will not be able to cope up with the population explosion. So that is in my view, that is the first and foremost challenge. And unfortunately, in last about 2-3 decades, nothing has been done. It is not even spoken of that we have to control our population. That is the main challenge that I feel this country is facing. Then it is further compounded by, if you see your literacy rate, you have a huge population, and then a lot of it, almost 50% actually, practically, is illiterate. Sometimes we tend to boast that we have a youth bulge, but that youth bulge is of not much importance if that youth bulge is unskilled and if it is not educated. So that is the second challenge that we are facing, that our people, our nation is practically 50% illiterate. So that is the second challenge. And especially in this knowledge-driven world, it is difficult to cope up with the challenges of the new trends that we are seeing in the world and in the societies. The third challenge that in fact erodes any system you put in place, and that is corruption. We talk a lot of corruption. It is manifested in every walk of our life. So corruption has the potential to destroy any system. You put the best of the system, but if the corrupt people are running that system will not work. And any society in which systems do not work, that society cannot enjoy stability, that society cannot grow. So that is the third thing which in my mind is hindering our stability and our growth. The next thing is very, very unfortunate. We are an ideological country. Our basis are on religion, but instead of that force being putting us together, we have been divided in so many sects, and there's so much of intolerance. And that too, the people, again, this is a link to the first two things: uncontrolled population, illiteracy, then injected with spirit of religion. So there's too much of division and there's too much of intolerance in religious matters. That is again a very, very destabilizing factor and needs to be tackled. Next point that I will highlight is that unfortunately, we have inherited a culture, and that culture is not very forward-looking. As a society, we always tend to look back. Instead of seeing what are the innovative ways of dealing with things, what are the ways of looking at things with a fresh mind, we tend to see that what our father had said, what our grandfather has said. I would like to make a word, use a word of rawayat. Rawayat ye hai. So whatever is being told to us, without getting into detail, without researching it, without seeing the rationality of it, we try to adopt it and we follow the old method, old ways. So there's another way of, there's another obstacle, or you can call hurdle, that will not let you grow unless we be forward-looking. And my last observation is lack of justice in the society. That is if you ask me one thing, what hinders your growth, what hinders your stability, I would name only one thing: lack of justice and exploitative system. Unless we fight the system, unless we put the justice in order, unless we establish the justice, there can be no stability, there can be no growth. So these are the, I feel, there are challenges to stability and growth.
Now, as many scholars say that the national integration is a solution to the every problem Pakistan faces. How do you believe and how do you see the role of national integration in tackling these problems and building a nation?
Though it is a very theoretical thing, but first of all, when we talk of national integration or nation building, so we must first of all revert back to the basics. What is a nation? You and me, we understand what is a nation. Basically, it is a group of people living in a country, living in a space with common aspirations. They have common aspirations and they get together. And those, the manifestation of those common aspirations can be divided further into the ideology, like religious ideology, like your own geographical contiguity, that you have been living in a place for so long together. You have common experiences, you have common culture. So these are the basic things which bring you to being a nation. So that's that much for the theoretical part. Then when we talk of national integration, in my view, a nation or a state, you call it, this is basically a social contract between the state and the citizens, and then the center and the federating units. And as long as these federating units and the individual and state, they have common interests, so you can achieve national integration. You can have nation going towards a better direction. In this, I will make another point is that, in fact, quite a lot of other things, they become, I would say that, subsidiary. Basically, it is the common interests which remain permanent. And those common interests bind people together into a nation, into a country. So as a nation, as a country, we must build the states of individuals so that they feel that this is their own country. If the state is not looking after, if they are being exploited, over time, people lose interest in the state, people lose trust in their system. So there will be a lot of national disintegration. So if we are able to build states of the individual with the country, with the system, with the provinces are faith in the federation. So we will have our national integration. And what spells this national integration? This is in fact given into your constitution. It is the constitution which gives you a guideline that these are the responsibility of our state, these are their duties, this is the responsibility of the individual, these are their duties. So when they both sides, when they pay back their own share, so there will be national integration. And when the people feel that they have stake with Pakistan, if Pakistan stays, they will stay. If Pakistan goes, they will lose. They actually understand that. So then there will be a lot of integration. And when the people realize this, that this is their own state, their well-being is connected to it, then automatically nation building will be I would say a concurrent process that will go with it.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. As in your answer, the focus was the national integration focus was individual's responsibility and the relationship of individual with state. So, sir, in this all, what are the way forwards to achieve this relationship, yeah, or to mature this relationship?
Like in your last question, I said that the utmost thing or the most important thing is justice. Okay? So what is the way forward? I have started a bit of campaign also. I don't know where I will go with that campaign. But unless people feel that they will be treated justly, they will remain prone to all type of propaganda, all type of interferences, all type of exploitation. So first and foremost thing is, which is a long way, it's a long struggle, that is to establish a just system. May it be judicial system or administrative system, that has to be just. If that is just, people will feel protected and they will have recourse to something. No people are exploited, poor people are exploited, even people are mishandled, maltreated, exploited, but they do not have recourse to even judiciary. So unless we are able to establish just system, people will not feel secure. So that is my first and fourth one, most point, that it is establishment of a just state, just system that would enhance people's confidence into the system and into the state. The second point that I want to highlight is that basically we take everything to be an administrative problem. For example, every now and then we would say that government is not doing this, such and such authority has not done this. Actually, we need to change our attitudes. I am launching a campaign on this. Basically, it is the individuals. They have to change attitude. They have to keep things please. They have to discipline themselves. They have to assume their responsibility. They have to be courageous enough to ask for their rights. So this is basically a change of attitude that I think that people need to have in their minds, because it is the individual that they will make difference. The third point, other than attitude, that I have in my mind is that we as a nation, we need to set our priorities right. We need to ground ourselves and realize what are the ground realities, and accordingly set our priorities. Like I said earlier, that in setting priorities, population control is one thing. We should be spending a lot of money on population control. For example, we should be spending a lot of money on education, and we should be spending a lot of money on human resource development, which is not being done. Or total, unfortunately, total orientation is that we do things which are visible. Well, I would now talk a bit of Urdu. Iqbal says, वही है जहां तेरा जिसे तू करे पैदा, ये संगो खिश्त नहीं जो तेरी निगाह में है. We are more concerned about sango khisht, what is visible. So we need to set our priority right. We also need to realize that we are a poor nation. We are under tremendous debt, and our official and personal lifestyles, they need to be changed. See our government buildings, and see even the government buildings of UK and even USA. Your buildings at times look better, but the ground reality is that this all building, this all infrastructure, this all magnificence, this is all from borrowed money. So we need to set our priorities right, and we need to curtail ourselves. We need to understand that what are our limitations and go accordingly. Then next is we need to have political stability. We need to have political stability. That unless we have political stability, there can be no investment. There will be no growth. There will be, in fact, you cannot sustain any system if there is no political stability. We need to have political stability in the country. And then we have already talked about the nation building, that nations are built through education, through emphasizing the role and responsibility of people. So these are few things that I feel that if we do those, set our priorities right, and I think we have great potential and we can move on.
Sir, as you have talked about the responsibilities of state towards individuals, so but we are mostly scholars recognize this nation as systematically corrupt in every section of life. So, how you see how one individual can contribute to streamline the system, and what are the duties as a part of an individual?
Okay, before I come on to this question, I am slightly getting old and I tend to forget what I like to speak. Very important point that I missed in the last your last question, that was about way forward. We must adhere to Constitution. All institutions must restrict themselves towards the boundaries laid out by the Constitution. Unfortunately, there's too much of meddling around by everybody. We need to all the institutions, they must restrict themselves to what they need to do. There shouldn't be any overlapping of the responsibilities, because if you wield authority, any institution without responsibility, that is not accounted for. So we must ensure, or we must try to practice that all institutions, they work within the boundaries spelled out by the Constitution. Coming on to your next question, that is very important question. And in fact, what is a nation? What is a country? Who does corruption? It's all individuals. We say, what is the role of an individual in the state? Who acts cowardly and doesn't stand up for his right? It is an individual. Who bribes is an individual. Who takes bribe is an individual. So the main focus, or I would say the main building block of a nation is individual. So individuals can do a tremendous thing. And in my one or two references that I made, that what I'm trying to do, I don't know what I will achieve in this life, is to make aware the individuals, their responsibility, their potential, their rights. They must assume their responsibilities and at the same time struggle for the right. It is a misnomer. It is a misnomer. It has never happened in history. Rights are always given after struggle. Nothing is ever given in plate. People, those who exploit, they will keep exploiting you because they benefit. It is the responsibility of those who are being exploited to stand up and fight for their rights. So individuals, they have a lot of things to do. This is actually, it is the individuals who make a society, who make a country, who make a nation either good or bad. So we cannot absolve individuals of their responsibility. That is another point, that individuals or a common citizen in this country, they have been exploited to an extent, or they've been pressurized to an extent that they've lost confidence in themselves. They even don't know that what they're able to achieve. So the struggle should be to wake people up, give them confidence that what all they can do. They are the most important building block of any nation, any state. This is my view.
Sir, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope it was for me as I'm sure that it was a very learning discussion, and I would appreciate audience. Thank you so much for your time, General sir.
Thank you very much, Ahmad. It has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, audience. This is for all today. Thank you for watching Global Times Pakistan.